All right, in this video I'm going to be giving you kind of an overview of the stuff that we're going to do in multivariable calculus. Okay, this should take, between 10 and 12 weeks or so. I'm thinking most of the third quarter, maybe a little bit into the fourth quarter around spring break is probably when we'll switch gears and hit the differential equations and hit, some stuff with complex variables and maybe some other stuff too. Maybe we'll go back to the group theory coloring book at the end of the course. But just to, talk about where we came from, basically in Algebra 1, we learned about functions that took in a real number and give you back a real number. And we talked a little bit about this in the linear algebra course, but we talked about a function that mapped real numbers into real numbers. And I mean, you could also say that this describes calculus AB, okay? Now in pre-calculus, a little bit, and definitely in Cal BC, we started talking about parametric equations. Okay, so that would be curves in the plane that could maybe like loop back on themselves or do weird things like go vertical, paths in the plane. We talked about that. If you're currently in my Cal BC class, don't worry, we'll get to that just very soon. And as you'll see, I'm going to give you a recap. It's only like 2 or 3 things that you actually learn. So, we started to look at a vector valued function, and that's what we're going to start with in this class. So it was something that took in one number, but gave you back a vector. And in AP Calculus, we're limited to 2-dimensional vectors. Okay, that's where we're going to start, is with this. But then we, other vector valued functions. That's something I think I've budgeted 3 days for, and I think that might be including, kind of like a work day where we're going to work through all of the quizzes and the test, the old tests that I have. I saw the test I gave last year, but I actually liked the one I gave in 2016 better, so I think I'm going to use that one this year. So this is a real vector valued function. This is really something that's going to give you back a vector, but in our situation, I'm going to be assuming that it just takes in one number. It has like a time parameter, usually is what we like to think. Okay, so those are the vector value functions. That's where we're starting. Then we'll go to multivariable functions. And those, as you might expect, they take in more than one variable. So that's going to be, now these are going to be, at the beginning, we're going to look at real valued multivariable functions. So that's kind of where we're going to take in a vector, and we're going to get back a real number. So an example of this would be like the temperature at some point in space, or something to that effect, where each point in space is going to have a unique temperature, but a temperature is a number, it's a value. And then after that, we're going to look at vector fields, which are probably what you would consider to be like really multivariable, like lots of variables coming in and some number of variables coming out. So it's going to take in a vector and it's going to give you back a vector. Okay, that's going to be what we're going to do in this class. Okay, we'll do a little bit of this. And quite a bit of this, and then we'll wrap up with the vector field. The vector analysis is it gets pretty unpleasant with the integration, but some of the ideas and concepts in there are really worth looking at for us. I'd say that's really kind of a stretch for a high school course, the vector analysis, but we will do it, of course. And then we'll go on and we'll do differential equations and all sorts of stuff that you might see in a typical first year of studying mathematics at university. Okay, so that's all I've got for this video. This is an overview of multivariable calculus.